Hey guys, you're watching the EJ Tech Show. I'm Soham and this is my review of the latest TWS earbuds from Samsung, the Galaxy Buds 2. With active noise cancellation at a price point of 11,999 rupees, are these the earbuds to go for? Well, that's what I'm going to try and answer in this video, so if you do enjoy it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the Editorji channel for more tech reviews. These new Galaxy Buds 2 look quite different from Samsung's previous TWS product, the Buds Live. In fact, they look much closer to the Galaxy Buds Pro from 2020. The glossy finish does attract dust and fingerprints, but on the other hand, a matte finish would have made them quite slippery. The Buds 2 are quite lightweight at just 5 grams each, and even the case is just over 40 grams. They're very round and don't get wingtips, but still fit quite snugly deep inside the ear. It's worth noting that no matter what color choice you go for, olive, white, lavender or this graphite, the outer case will be in glossy white. It is fairly small and pocketable, and opening the case is a one-handed operation once you get the hang of it. It also gets a USB-C charging port at the back, and in typical Samsung fashion, there's Qi wireless charging support, which means you can charge it on the back of your Samsung smartphone through wireless power share. Now, like wireless power share, compatible Samsung devices will be able to use the full breadth of features available on the Galaxy Buds 2. For instance, I set up this homepage widget, which gives me quick access to the active noise cancellation toggle, touch controls and battery status on both the earbuds and the case. Plus, the ecosystem lets you use the Galaxy Wearable app to further enhance your experience, like being able to take an earbud fit test, update the firmware, modify touch controls and much more. You can't do all this on an iPhone, unfortunately, because the Galaxy Wearable app on the App Store doesn't yet support the Galaxy Buds 2. However, you can get access to most functions, including the widget, on most Android smartphones with the Galaxy Wearable app, but you will need to download a separate plugin for the Buds 2. Music through the Galaxy Buds 2 sounds really good, with clear tones and a sound signature that doesn't let bass rule the party. You can use the equalizer settings in the app to demand more bass output successfully, but on the whole, I quite enjoyed the default sound profile. Now, active noise cancellation on the Galaxy Buds 2 is impressive, and I think it has to do with that super snug fit. Passive noise isolation is so good to begin with that the active noise cancellation just adds to the experience, blocking out anything that gets left over. While listening to music at around 70% volume, barely any sounds made it through except for a loud car honk or a door slamming shut. However, what left me most impressed was the ambient modes on offer. Not only can you change the level of how much ambient noise is filtered through the mics, you can customize it to filter noise from a particular side and choose the sound tone of your surroundings based on what you're trying to keep an ear out for. Another great feature is the ability to use ambient sound during calls. Usually when using in-ear buds like these, I end up shouting on a call because I can't hear myself talking. But with this option, I can keep my levels in check even with these buds sitting deep in my ears. Speaking of calling, there's a total of 6 microphones on the Buds 2 that offer very clear transmission in relatively quiet indoor environments and manage to do a decent job even when outdoors in louder spaces. Now, like I said before, the Galaxy Buds 2 fit really well in the ear, and I didn't experience too much fatigue even while wearing them for a couple of hours at a stretch, which isn't something I can say about most earbuds. Plus, I didn't need to adjust them in my ears all that often, especially once I took the earbud fit test. Even while working out, it didn't feel like the Buds 2 were trying to escape, which is really impressive. However, while they fit well, the area for the touch controls is rather trigger happy. I'd suggest you turn off the tap command or you'll end up triggering it every time you go to adjust the earbuds. There is a downside to this though. The single tap feature is quite handy for play-pause functions, and this is something you will use since in-ear detection works quite differently on the Galaxy Buds 2. Instead of pausing playback when one earbud is removed, in-ear detection only works when both earbuds are removed together. Moreover, playback is not resumed once you pop them back in, so that tap function is quite necessary. With 61 mAh in the earbuds and 472 mAh in the charging case, battery life on the Galaxy Buds 2 is pretty great. I got nearly 5 hours of usage with ANC turned on and managed to charge the buds up around 3 times using the charging case before I had to charge it back up again. If you turn ANC off, you can stretch that listening time even further, at least by an hour or so. At 11,999 rupees, the Galaxy Buds 2 fire on all cylinders. They sound great, fit comfortably, and offer excellent app support as long as you're an Android user. They're not the cheapest earbuds to offer active noise cancellation, but if you're into the Samsung ecosystem and need the feature set on offer here, the Galaxy Buds 2 are a solid choice.
The sub 30,000 rupee 5G phone market has gotten very competitive over the last year. Samsung's latest entrant, the Galaxy M52 5G, promises a great camera and a powerful chipset, but is that enough to make it the top choice? Hi guys, you're watching the EJ Tech Show. My name is Deepith, but before I answer that question, make sure you like this video and do subscribe to our channel to keep seeing more reviews like this. The Galaxy M52 5G gets an Infinity O punch hole display with pretty thin bezels all around. It's glossy plastic, and on this black color at least is a fingerprint magnet, as most glossy plastic backs are. In fact, the phone is plastic all around. I do wish Samsung had used more premium or at least more premium feeling materials, especially at the back, for a better in-hand feel. The Galaxy M52 5G is powered by the new Snapdragon 778G chipset, which is very fast. It features this beautiful 6.7-inch Full HD Plus AMOLED display, and the 120Hz refresh rate keeps things smooth. It gets either 6 or 8 GB of RAM along with 128 GB UFS 2.1 storage. You can also expand this using the micro SD card slot. The rear camera array features a 64 megapixel wide lens, a 12 megapixel ultra wide lens, and a 5 megapixel macro lens. The front shooter is a 32 megapixel unit. And a 5000 mAh battery keeps the lights on, which does support 25 watt fast charging, but you only get a 15 watt charger in the box. At 173 grams, this is one of the lightest phones I've ever used in this segment. This works well if you prefer lighter phones, but it does mean that the phone lacks a certain heft. There's a side-mounted fingerprint reader which is very fast as long as you're able to correctly position your finger in exactly the right position, because it isn't too forgiving. The display on this phone is beautiful and you get all of the usual benefits that come with a Samsung panel. Colors are incredibly vivid, it gets really bright, contrast is fantastic, and it supports HDR too. It's absolutely lovely for watching content. The 120Hz refresh rate also really helps make using the phone a smooth experience. For sound, there's a single bottom firing speaker that does the job. A stereo setup would have been nice. In bright daylight, the Galaxy M52 5G offers a great camera that gets a lot of detail along with Samsung's signature vibrant colors. Grain and soft details can pop up in indoor settings, but the camera still represents lighting and color fairly accurately. The 12 megapixel ultra-wide is a real strength, among the best I've seen in this segment. In most scenarios, there's little to no color shift between this and the main camera, and the detail and dynamic range it can capture is astonishing sometimes. The macro camera also does a lot better than efforts by the competition, with the 5 megapixel lens being able to bring out reasonable detail in macro shots. The main camera can shoot video at up to 4K 30 FPS. Video output keeps the same vibrant colors and decent dynamic range. Movement does get a bit jittery though, as there is no optical stabilization in the main lens. The Snapdragon 778G chipset is brand new and blazing fast. General phone usage is very smooth of course, and even for intensive tasks like playing COD Mobile, the chipset fares well, with high graphics settings running very smoothly at max frame rate. Multitasking is still fine on this 6 GB RAM model, and it's good to see 128 GB of storage even in the base variant. The Galaxy M52 5G supports 11 5G bands, so when 5G does launch in India, you should have no problems with connectivity. On the software front, you get the latest Android 11 and One UI 3.1. Fully featured, not the core version, although some flagship features like Good Lock are not present. One UI is chock full of features as ever though, and still very customizable. There are some default apps which send notifications, but you can always uninstall those. The 5000 mAh battery will easily last you around a day and a half with normal usage, and perhaps even 2 days. I experienced around 6 hours of screen on time with some heavy usage where I played a lot of Call of Duty and also watched a lot of videos. As I mentioned earlier, the phone does support 25 watt charging, but only comes with a 15 watt charger in the box. With the bundle charger, it takes around an hour and 40 minutes to go from 0 to 100. The Galaxy M52 5G brings you the best of Samsung for a starting price of Rs 25,999. You get a great camera, a fantastic display, and the latest Snapdragon 778G chipset, meaning that this is a phone that will last you for quite some time. The in-hand feel could have been a little bit improved, but if you like the Samsung experience, this is one of the best 5G phones in its segment right now.
Hey guys, you're watching the EJ Tech Show. I'm Soham and this is my review of the latest affordable mid-ranger from Samsung, the Galaxy F42 5G. At 17,999 rupees, is this the best new budget 5G device? Well, that's what I aim to answer in this video, so if you do enjoy it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the Editorji channel for more tech reviews. The Galaxy F42 5G is a pretty good looking device, especially in this matte aqua color. It's an all plastic body, but the matte finish on the back and sides ensures that there's no visible fingerprints. It is a bit thick at 9mm and somewhat hefty at 203 grams, but the weight is well balanced and feels good in the hand. There's a USB-C port and 3.5mm headphone jack at the bottom, and the SIM tray can hold 2 nano SIM cards and a micro SD card all at once. On the side, there's a fingerprint scanner that works well and responds quickly. There's also an impressive 12 5G bands on offer here, so the device is pretty future-proof. The F42 5G sports a 6.6-inch FHD Plus LCD display with bright, vibrant colors and just enough punch to be viewable in direct sunlight. There is Widevine L1 certification here for Netflix, but there's no support for HDR across all apps. Being an LCD screen, viewing angles are not the best, but there's no trouble if you're looking at the display head-on. Bezels are quite thick, especially the bottom chin, and the teardrop notch is starting to look a bit dated in 2021. The rear camera setup on the F42 5G is a triple sensor array with a 64-megapixel primary sensor that's accompanied by a 5-megapixel ultra-wide and 2-megapixel depth sensor. Pictures taken with the primary sensor are sharp and colorful in typical Samsung fashion. HDR is well balanced and the default color profile produces pleasing pictures in almost every outdoor situation. I like the fact that Samsung went with an ultra-wide sensor here instead of a low-resolution macro, but I do wish that ultra-wide sensor was a bit higher resolution. Images taken with it do come out well for the most part, but even in brightly lit conditions, there's some lack of detail, especially towards the edges of the frame. The depth sensor enables the portrait mode and it produces better results outdoors than it does indoors. The F42 5G also features a dedicated night mode and it performs quite well in low light conditions compared to other smartphones at this price point. Instead of boosting exposure and revealing a lot of grain, the post-shutter processing increases contrast and brings down highlights, making for a much nicer image overall. This does mean that brightly lit areas in a low light shot look a bit underexposed, but I feel the shots look quite moody and interesting. Videos with the F42 5G can be shot at 2K at 30 FPS, which is impressive. It's not as high-res as 4K, but it's still an upgrade from just standard 1080p. However, I would have liked to see an option to shoot at 60 FPS. The F42 5G also houses an 8-megapixel front-facing selfie camera, which takes decent enough shots in good lighting conditions. The Galaxy F42 5G runs on the Dimensity 700 chipset, which is okay for this price point, and its performance falls in line with competitors like the Snapdragon 720G. There's virtually no issues in day-to-day performance, but in some apps like the camera app, there is a bit of lag when switching from the main sensor to the ultra-wide sensor after having taken a picture. However, it's not a huge deal breaker, and for the most part, the Dimensity 700 offers perfectly usable power. Gaming on titles like COD Mobile is a mostly lag-free experience, but there's only support for maximum medium graphics settings and high frame rate. The battery on the F42 5G is a large 5000 mAh unit, and while it isn't as large as the 6000 mAh batteries we've seen on previous F-series devices, it will still get you through the day. Even with heavy usage, I managed to get well over a day's battery life with the refresh rate turned to 90 Hz. However, the bundled 15-watt charging adapter takes over 2 hours to take the phone from 0 to full, so it's best if you charge it overnight. The F42 5G runs Android 11 with One UI Core 3.1, which does mean it misses out on a few features like Secure Folder. Still, despite the lack of NFC, there's Samsung Pay Mini for wireless transactions. There is a bit of bloatware on the phone out of the box as well, but as always, most of it can be disabled or uninstalled. At 17,999 rupees, the Galaxy F42 5G offers a strong 64-megapixel camera, long battery life, and smooth day-to-day performance. If you favor Samsung's easy-to-use interface and want a phone that promises 5G performance in the future, the Samsung Galaxy F42 5G is definitely worth putting on your list.